Once Shabari went and collect water, and one sages was meditating, and of course when you collect water it makes sound, no? And when it makes sound, the sage heard the sound, and the sage saw Shabari, and he became very angry, and he threw a stone at Shabari, and that stone hit Shabari on her leg, a big stone actually. It hit Shabari on her leg, and of course it bruises her. Blood starts flowing out, and one drop of blood fell into the lake. So Shabari, when he heard the sage chastising him, so being soft-hearted, she ran back to her ashram crying. Meanwhile, what have happened? That one drop we have fell into that lake have transformed that lake into blood completely. So seeing that sage become very fearful and very angry even. He went around to all the ashram and started telling, look what's that witch have done. She have bewitched that lake completely. She have cursed that lake. We have to chant big mantra to cleanse that lake. So all the brahmanas came, all that great priests came, all the great rishis, they came all around, start chanting all the Vedic mantra that they know, Sahana Bhavatu, whatever they chant upon. Nothing happened. They do all their ritual, nothing cleansed that lake. Seeing that they are powerless, they heard that Ram was in the forest nearby. They called Rama. So Rama could not refuse the brahmanas when they have called them. So he came, and they said to Rama, Rama, please, you are the Lord himself. So please, by you touching this water, you have saved the Gandharva, how you have free, what is name, the one who becomes stone? No, Ahilya. How you redeem Ahilya, from the curse of her husband. Gautam Rishi, Gautam Rishi. So please, for sure, by just a touch of you into that water, it will be cleansed, purified. So Rama said, okay, fine. Rama went and stepped into the water. Nothing happened. They were shocked and said, Lord Rama, please, maybe you should just take a shower, take a bath into that. Maybe you should take a dip into that. Rama said, okay, I'll take a dip. Went and take a dip. Came out, was still blood red. Nothing happened. So then they said, maybe what you have to do, take some water into your mouth, gurgle it, and then spit it into the water. For sure that will change. And as they were going to give water, Lakshman interfered. And Lakshman said, are you crazy people? Why would he put this in his mouth? So Rama said, no, don't. Please calm down, Lakshman. Let me do it. This poor Brahmana. Of course, Rama was laughing for sure inside his heart because he knew what was happening. He knew deeply inside what is the reason for that, So, you see, it is not in vain. But when we look at that, why Sita was kidnapped, why Ram have to be in that forest. If Sita would not be kidnapped, all this will not happen. You see, even that was in his plan, to free and to teach these Brahmanas. But you are Brahmanas, but this is not an attitude of a Brahman. An attitude of a Brahman is those who surrender, those who serve the devotee, those who reflect the grace of the Lord himself, but not you by studying something and thinking, chanting some mantra, all the stuff, you are so great of becoming a Brahmana. No, you are not a Brahmana just like that. Because you are full of pride and ego. Due to your pride and ego, you can't consider yourself a Brahmana. So, saying that, he said to Lakshman, don't worry, let them, I will do it. So he took some water into his mouth and he gurgled, and he spit it into the lake. Nothing happened. So Rama was saying, in a very cheeky way, he said, I did all this. Look, it must be very powerful witch who have cast this lake, have spelled this lake, but even me, Purushottam Ram, who people consider me to be God himself, even Sriman Narayana himself could not even cleanse that. Please tell me. But then they said, Shabari. The moment Ram heard the name Shabari, Ram became mad. Ram was full of bliss, was like mad. And Ram was saying, please bring me to the ashram of Shabari. And I said, no, why would you go to the ashram of Shabari? He said, no, I have to have darshan of Shabari. I said, why? You are the Supreme Lord. Why you want to have darshan of that witch? Why you want? What is so great about this witch? What is so great about Shabari? But you want to have darshan of such person? I said, no, please bring me. You know, I have come all this for her. All this, what you are seeing, it is because of her. It is her blessing, her grace. Imagine her Guru Bhakti, how wonderful it was. You know, for Bhagwan himself will come. It's the same as Pundalik when his worship to his mother and father. Lord Vitthal himself came to have his darshan. So imagine how is the longing for Bhagwan to such a devotee. You know, how rare is such a devotee when there's such a devotee somewhere, Bhagwan himself long for to have darshan of such a great soul itself. You see, this is the mercy of Bhagwan. You know, this is the mercy of the Lord. When we look at how merciful is God, it's not a God which is sitting there in a throne and said, worship me, throw your worship, I'm ready to be worshipped. No. He is that merciful Lord who have come to the people. He said, I have come to you to save you, to free you. How merciful is that Lord? You know, you can see this is the greatness of Bhagwan. You know, this is the greatness of the Lord himself. You know, when we see what he forget when he descend into this world, he forget his divinity completely. You know, he become even more servant than a servant himself. He come for the people. He come for the saints and sages. You know. So when he heard that Shabari, that just the name Shabari, Shabari from the other side was already fully mad with the name of Ram. You know. So forget about Shabari. She was completely mad. You know. But when Ram heard the name of Shabari, he became mad. He became ecstatic. He became to run. Please bring me like a madman. Bring me to that Shabari. You know. They have to calm him down. Lakshmana have to calm Ram down. So then the gathered sages, they said, okay, we will go and call her. So they went and called Shabari. They stood outside the ashram of Rishi Matang and called Shabari. Shabari, Lord Rama is calling you. The mere mention of Ram, Shabari become even more mad. You know, and what flashes into her mind was what her guru have said to her. You know, how Ram is. In her mind, Ram was dancing in all kind. You know, in her mind, she started to imagine how Ram is, and she started to run like a crazy woman. And as she was running like a crazy mad woman towards where Rama was, she was passing by that lake. And as she was passing by that lake, you know, when you run, your feet is full of dust, no? Some of the dust from her feet fell into the water. The moment the dust of her feet fell into the water, the whole lake was cleansed, even more pure what it was before. All the rishis were shocked to see, and the mind was in total confusion. They could not understand why. How come the Supreme Lord himself have gone inside, have gurgled his mouth, have bathed inside, nothing have happened, but just the dust from the feet of Shabari have cleansed that lake completely. That's why the dust of the saints, the dust of all the the so-called real Brahmana, the pure devotee of the Lord, that's what Bhagwan longed for. Bhagwan himself longed for the dust of the gopis. He longed for the dust of those who have surrendered to him. The same way, those who have surrendered to him, they long for the dust of the Lord himself, So when Shabari was running and that happened, the Brahmana was confused. Lakshman was confused. Shabari ran and fell prostrate and embraced the feet of the Lord. She was overwhelmed with love, but no word came out from her lips. Again and again she bowed down her head to the lotus feet. Presently she took some water and really washed the feet, then conduct them to the seat of honor. So I don't think she had the time to carry some water with her. What she washed the feet of the Lord was her tears. So for sure, Rama also was on tears. So Shabari was washing her tears of Ram, which she have waited all her life. Actually, she have gone when she was young to the ashram of Matan. All her life she was worshipping the name of Ram. All her life she have spent of waiting to have just a glimpse of Rama. And how many thousands of years, how long was Bhagwan himself waiting for such a devotee? And then ask yourself, do you have that quality of Shabari? Do you have that quality of surrendering to the Lord, or to the feet of Guru and God? How grace do Bhagwan have graced each one in this life itself to get to know his name, what punya you must have, how many life have you worked, how many life have you worshipped him, how many life have you done so much penance so that he have graced you to get to know him, to worship him. Now, here you see, in the mind of Shabari was the name of Ram, was the image how Shabari was. But deeper than that was the image of her Guru. Because without the grace of Rishi Matang, without Guru Kripa, Bhagwan doesn't give himself. It is through Guru grace, through Guru Kripa, Rishi Matang Kripa, but Shabari have attained to that feet, that lotus feet of the Lord himself. But see that devotion, see that relationship, it's not a one-way relationship, It's a two-way relationship. Bhagwan reflects that sincere devotion. Then people ask why you don't reflect that love for me. I love you very much. Why? No, Bhagwan will not reflect that madness. Guru will not reflect that madness, what is in your fantasy, in your delusion. But when there is sincere devotion, that's what you will receive. So here you see, when Shabari was running and cleansing that lake itself, you see everybody was in confused. Who is that woman really, which for all her life we have chastised her, for all her life we have pushed her away, we have called her by many names, we have pointed finger towards her. She lived as a true saint in hidden, She lived in pure devotion. Her devotion was not to show. She appeared mad into the outside, just as a fool, for God. When there's so many fools for God into this world, in Russia you have so many of them. Also, you have so many in India also, who love God to such an extent that they forget completely about themselves. Only Him, nothing else. So the Brahmanas was completely confused. But Bhagwan himself, allowed that woman to touch his feet firstly. And he's washing with her tears the lotus feet of Lord Rama. And Ram is not stopping. Did they ask Ram, please, in our state of confusion, please save us, explain to us, for sure we have done something very, offensive towards her. Please forgive her. Ram explained to them that, you see, when you have hurt Shabari, the blood which have fall into the lake was not Shabari's blood. On the outside it appeared that it is the blood of Shabari, but in reality was the blood from my heart. That's why I could not cleanse it. In spite of me going inside it, in spite of me gurgle, put the water into my mouth and throw it, spit it out, it could not be cleansed because it's my own blood. My blood, her devotion, she have transformed her completely into Ram. Her absorption into the name of Ram have transformed her completely into Ram. Ram, each cell inside of her was Ram. I dwell inside of her completely. And I long to her, when her dust from her feet touches that water. Only the dust from the feet of the devotee have cleansed that water completely, have rendered that water pure. Imagine the dust of Guru and saints, how powerful it is. Imagine, we are talking about collecting the remnant of the saints, how blessing there is inside, how collecting the relic of the saint, how grace these things carry. People doesn't realize that, Even the dust of Shabari itself shows. But that itself Bhagwan long for. Like the devotee long for Bhagwan, Bhagwan long even much more for the devotee.